Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're an engineering student staring down the barrel of your first major electrical modules right now, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're not just going to sit here and memorize a bunch of boring textbook formulas. Instead, we're going on an epic trip. We're calling it the journey of a charge. We're going to completely demystify the foundations of direct current, or DC circuits, by tracking exactly what happens to electrical energy as it travels through a system. So grab your notes, get focused, and let's dive in.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We're starting with electric potential and current, moving into resistance and conductance, hitting Ohm's law, and then navigating series and parallel circuits before taking on the final boss, equivalent resistance.
But wait, before we even touch the math, I want you to think about this for a second. What actually happens when millions of electrons hit a roadblock in a circuit? I mean, we interact with electronic devices literally every single second of our lives, but we rarely visualize the invisible forces, the immense pressure, and the physical obstacles at play inside those tiny wires. Well, today, we're making the invisible visible.
All right, diving into Section 1, electric potential and current. Every epic journey needs a push to get started, right? Well, in our circuit, that invisible pressure is what we call electric potential. Technically speaking, it's numerically equal to the work done, measured in joules, to bring a positive charge of 1 coulomb from infinity to a specific point against an electric field. But the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. 1 volt is exactly equal to 1 joule of work per coulomb of charge. It's literally the pressure driving our journey forward.
Moving right along to Section 2, resistance, resistivity, and conductance.
So we've got our driving force, but how do we actually measure the roadblocks? The official metric for that is the ohm. Think of it like this. A conductor has exactly 1 ohm of resistance if it lets 1 ampere of current through when pushed by 1 volt of pressure. It's the friction of our electrical journey, the opposition that the conductor offers to the flow of current.
Now, out in the real world of engineering, you're almost never dealing with just single ohms. You really need to know how to scale your math. For massive insulators, we're talking mega ohms. That's 1,000,000 ohms. But on the flip side, for highly conductive materials, you might be looking at tiny micro roadblocks measured in microohms, which is 1/1,000,000th of an ohm. Mastering these prefixes from kilo to milli and beyond is absolutely essential for your circuit calculations.
Okay, so what actually dictates the size of these roadblocks? Well, it's governed by physical laws, kind of like your daily commute. First, resistance varies directly with length, so a longer trip means more total resistance. Second, it varies inversely with the cross-sectional area. Think of this as the width of the highway. A wider wire gives the current way more room to flow, which lowers the resistance. Third, it depends on the nature of the material, known as specific resistance or resistivity. A copper wire and an iron wire are totally different terrains. And finally, it depends on the temperature of the conductor.
Let's flip the script for a second. While resistance fights the journey, conductance, which we represent with a G and measure in Siemens, is the exact opposite. It's the inducement offered to the flow of current. They are exact reciprocals, so high resistance means low conductance and vice versa. Pretty simple, right?
All right, Section 3, Ohm's Law and Circuit Math.
Ohm's law is basically the ultimate mathematical translator of our journey. It boils down to one essential legendary equation. V equals I times R. Voltage equals current multiplied by resistance. Once we know the push, the voltage, and the roadblock, the resistance, this formula tells us exactly how much current is actually going to make it through.
Next up, Section 4, navigating series circuits.
Picture a series circuit as a single-lane road. The components are joined end to end. Because there's nowhere else to go, the exact same current flows through all parts of the circuit. But as the current fights through these roadblocks, different resistors cause their own individual voltage drops. And here's the cool part. These voltage drops are additive. This perfectly lines up with Kirchhoff's voltage law, meaning the sum of the individual voltage drops will equal your total applied source voltage. Oh, and the resistances? Those just add straight up too.
If you track the progressive fall in potential from point A to point D, you'll see it's literally a staircase effect. Every single time the current hits a resistor in this series circuit, it loses a little bit of its potential energy. The voltage drops, V1, V2, V3, they just step down the pressure sequentially until the journey is complete.
Shifting gears to Section 5, navigating parallel circuits.
Now, when resistors are connected in parallel, the multi-lane highway opens up and the rules of the road totally change. Here, the pressure, or voltage, acts equally across all parts of the circuit. But the traffic, the current, actually splits up. Different resistors will have their own individual currents. And if you add up all those branch currents, you get the total current of the circuit. You'll recognize this as Kirchhoff's current law.
If you trace the total current I right as it hits the junction, you can clearly see it divide into branch currents I1, I2, and I3. The current takes paths of varying resistance across R1, R2, and R3. Naturally, just like real traffic, the lane with the lowest resistance is going to get the most current.
And finally, Section 6, Calculating Equivalent Resistance.
The reality is, real-world circuits are pretty messy. They're rarely just pure series or pure parallel. They're hybrids. So equivalent resistance is kind of our magic trick for circuit analysis. It's the process of mathematically collapsing an entire maze of series and parallel roadblocks into one single, unified resistance value. We do this to simplify the whole network so we can easily calculate the total voltage or current.
So, how do we actually beat this final boss? By treating the math like a step-by-step puzzle. You always work from the inside out. Step 1. Identify the parallel branches. Step 2. Collapse those parallel paths. Say you have two 10-ohm resistors in parallel. Using the reciprocal formula, 1 over total R equals 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2, they mathematically collapse into a single 5-ohm equivalent. Step 3. Simply add that new 5-ohm equivalent directly to any remaining series components. You're just breaking the scary diagram down into easy logical chunks.
If there's just one core truth you take away today, it's this. No matter how insanely messy or intimidating an exam diagram looks, take a deep breath. It all boils down to finding that single equivalent resistance. Isolate the parallel blocks, collapse them down, add the series lines, and just find your single resistor. You've got this.
And just like that, you've officially reached the end of the DC charger's journey. You now have the structural roadmap to master current, voltage, resistance, and complex equivalent circuits. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought. You've mastered the basic direct current puzzle where the flow is completely constant. But what happens to the math, the resistance, and the journey itself when the current suddenly starts alternating directions back and forth? That is an entirely new beast called AC power, and it's waiting for you in your upcoming studies. Thanks for tuning into this explainer. Keep analyzing, and I'll see you next time.